everybody, welcome to the show. Tonight in movie reviews, we're going to take a look at the original film of the 28 Days Later franchise, especially with 28 years later right around the corner here for its release. Yeah, I got my review coming up here in just a few days for y'all. Tonight, we are talking 28 Days Later. Don't forget to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching. Go check out the other horror content on my channel. Got a lot of really great stuff coming up. But let's not waste any time. Let's jump right on into things here. If you haven't seen the trailer for 28 Days Later before, a young man named Jim awakens from a coma in an abandoned hospital to find his world has gone to hell. As he tries to make sense of the abandoned streets of London, he soon discovers that many have been infected with some sort of virus that causes them to lash out violently. Attempting to make sense of this new world order, he encounters fellow survivors, some trying to stay alive, and others with far less noble intentions. And there it is, y'all. That is 28 Days Later. Now, for the simplest explanation possible, for those of y'all not looking for nuance and you're not looking for a long-winded, drawn-out explanation of what's going on here, 28 Days Later is about a zombie-like virus infecting Britain and those still stuck within trying to survive. There you go. But to expand on that story a bit, again, Jim awakens from a coma and finds mostly empty streets. And as he begins to encounter infected people, he's saved by survivors Selena and Mark, and the three go to take refuge at the home of Jim's parents. Now, while Mark is killed after being attacked by infected there, Jim and Selena continue on where they encounter father-daughter duo Frank and Hannah. The four of them make their way to a military blockade communicated over the radio, only to find that the soldiers within have laid a trap to take supplies from any survivors that do show up and have their way with any of the women. Frank is killed after being infected, but Jim, Selena, and Hannah are able to turn the tables on their captors and escape to a countryside cottage where they are eventually rescued. Now, 28 Days Later definitely offered something different from a lot of zombie films that we were getting around that time and leading up to its release as well too, by consistently having the characters on the move. Most zombie films, I think people would agree with me that survivors are going to find a safe haven, and then it's really about them fortifying that safe haven and keeping everybody inside. But they're just going to one space, and that's it. And here in 28 Days Later, while that's overall the plot of the film, is that this group of four is trying to get to this military blockade where they think they're going to be safe. Again, the grand majority of the movie has this foursome on the move, which again just separates it from what we are really seeing in a lot of films at that point. And because the monsters of this film were so different from what we were getting in a number of other zombie movies, it really did necessitate something different happening here, just because what we've seen in prior like zombie-like films to where, oh no, we're going to stay here in this supermarket, we're going to stay here in this mall, we're going to stay here in this mansion, whatever the case is there, we've seen that there's nothing truly as a safe space in the world of zombies. Now, the movie was timely when it came out back in the early 2000s in a post 9/11 world. And it's kind of insane to think here in 2025, it might actually be even more timely today. The rage that so many of us have bubbling within right beneath the surface, ready to be released at any point, and how quickly that can infect others who then continue to spread it from person to person to person. Yeah, we are talking about a zombie-like virus, but we're also talking about hateful ideology, which causes others to hate more and more in the real world as well, too. It's dark and it's hopeless at times, but we also see that some folks out there do have the ability to make it through these dark times and inspire hope. You know, I remember this movie terrifying me when I saw it, and the combination of hopelessness that's shown along with the way that the infected are portrayed is such a powerful 1-2 punch that I feel if you were to show this movie to somebody who has never encountered it here before in today's day and age, you might actually get a few tears out of them for how powerful this movie can be with its messaging. Now, as for the infected, and I am sticking with that term, infected. I know what Danny Boyle and Alex Garland and a number of people who love this franchise say it is a zombie film, but let me tell you, there are two specific traits that I give to zombies in the media that makes them zombies. The first being that It is somebody who has died and they have been brought back to life as a walking corpse. Whether that is caused by some kind of chemical, some kind of experiment, an act of God, we don't know, like Romero's films. It doesn't matter, but the point is they were dead and they were brought back to life. The second point being that these now walking, living corpses eat humans, whether it be flesh or brains. That is how they get their sustenance. They do not want a steak. They don't want shrimp. They don't want Skittles. They want human flesh. Neither of those two traits would describe the infected in this franchise. Now, of course, 28 years later has teased that there are going to be new infected types within, and maybe one of those points has changed. But somehow I don't think that's going to be the case. So I know while a contingent of folks, including the writer and director, are just going to call them zombies, I still love the film, but I'm not getting on board with that point here, y'all. Not only that, but Boyle and Garland truly affected what zombie media was back then and moving forward as well too. You know, the grand majority of zombie films we had seen at these times were showing shambling, walking corpses. And I know that immediately makes a lot of you think of The Walking Dead, but that's how the zombie media was leading up to that point, with the exception of maybe a film like Return of the Living Dead. But here in 28 Days Later, the infected, they can be killed like any other human, but they also have those same abilities. They're not suffering from rigor mortis or anything along those lines, or have dulled senses. If anything, they've been heightened by this rage virus. They can run, they can jump, they can suss things out, and in some ways they also have the ability to problem solve as well too. Not only that, but it's been made clear that if you're infected by the rage virus, you have seconds. There is no cure. If you get infected, you are turning within moments on the people that are there with you. Make no mistake, these things are horrendous, and they added so much nightmare fuel in the early 2000s. That works great because 28 Days Later features a number of highly charged, intense chase scenes in it and encounters with the infected. I'm gonna be honest. As fantastic as this film is, and as much as I love the scenes with the infected in this, especially at the military blockade towards the end of the film, I still don't feel anything actually matches up the opening of the sequel 28 weeks later. If you have not seen that opening is one of the most terrifying scenes I have seen in my life. I get chills just thinking about it. 28 Days Later is firmly the better movie of the two, but 28 weeks later very much has the scarier scene featured in it. I'm curious though, y'all let me know in that comment section. I want to know whether or not you agree with it, because there's a lot of haters out there about 28 weeks later. But what do you feel about the opening of that film? Let me know in the comment section there for that, y'all. Now, besides the infected, what might be the most terrifying fact of all here is that the movie shows that, again, the morals of the people in Britain fell so quickly. Everybody just descended into madness within weeks. And I get it. Something like this that decimates that world. Again, folks lose hope, folks lose common sense, and they just go to their base instincts. But we get to see Doctor Who's Christopher Eccleston playing Major West, the commander of this military blockade that Jim, Selena, and young Hannah encounter towards the end of the film. And it turns out he's not really altruistic. He has set a trap for any survivors that show up, the ramifications of which are truly horrifying. And it reminds us, again, that people's morals were lost that quickly. A lot of the other zombie films that we had seen at that point, it kind of depicts that a little bit more time has gone by and that people aren't acting as extreme as what we see these soldiers do here in this film unless they're pushed. Like the fact that they're setting a trap for survivors that show up is much different than folks getting into a fight in their safe haven. Like going back to the Night of the Living Dead remake that I absolutely love that Tom Savini directed, that stars the late great Tony Todd. You might remember in there the issue that Ben has with Cooper and the various fights that they get in. But it's not like Cooper was trying to set Ben up. Cooper's an asshole for sure, but he wasn't there to set Ben up. He didn't lay a trap there for it. It's more so he wanted to do things a certain way. Ben wanted to do things a certain way, and that led to a massive clash between the two. That is far different from luring folks to you so you can basically rob them and do what you please with them as well. It just adds a different point of terror here for the film and allows it to diversify it a bit to where it's not just the infected that are adding the scares here. Now, I mentioned Christopher Eccleston from Doctor Who, but this film also introduced US audiences to stars like Cillian Murphy and Naomie Harris, both of which would join huge franchises like Christopher Nolan's Batman franchise and Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, among other highly acclaimed films, like the fact that Naomie Harris starred in the amazing Miami Vice by Michael Mann. That movie rocks. I don't care if you disagree with that. Miami Vice is so good. Eat it. We also get Brendan Gleeson, who, though at the time both of them were already known, they also went on to these bigger appearances in films and TV over the last few decades as well. It's a damn good ensemble cast that we get here in 28 Days Later. Now, the one thing that modern audiences might not be on board with, if this is the first time that you're showing them this film, is Danny Boyle shooting portions of the film on a Canon XL1 camera. Now, at that time, that was a camera that was available to everyday people to pick up. You could go and buy that very easily around that time. And because of that, you can go and see that the film has a bit of a found footage first person point of view look at times, which a lot of us don't dislike that at all, because that paved the way for films like Wreck or Quarantine or Romero's Diary of the Dead. But I do understand that that might be a little alienating to modern audiences because it's not actually meant to be a found footage film. This is not an actual first person point of view movie. And so shooting it that way is going to be a little disorientating to a number of folks watching it. And that doesn't go away from this franchise, as it's been reported that for 28 years later, he filmed a portion of the film on iPhones as well too. For quite a while, this movie was out of print and unavailable digitally, but now that it's back on the market with the new entry 28 years later releasing, you can rectify that blind spot in your library and go check it out by renting it or purchasing it on digital stores today, or getting online and go and buying a physical copy. We are apparently getting 4K versions of both 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later soon. I imagine probably timed around the same time that 28 Years Later will also have its digital release as well. Rectify that immediately, y'all. 28 Days Later gets a 4.5 out of 5. It's almost perfect. Almost. Now, I want to hear from all of you in the comment section. Hit me with the discussion of infected versus zombies. What do you refer to them here in this film? I am honestly curious. I want to see where everybody's minds are with that. And of course, make sure to get subscribed to my channel, which you can do at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, my TikTok page for short horror content including movie news, movie premieres, and movie reviews, my Twitch page for horror gaming, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button no matter where you're watching. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I am on Twitter. I'm on a lot of places here. Follow me for some great content. Me and Stuff Scared Chris just did a look at the awesome fight in Jason Takes Manhattan for my first edition of Friday Night Frights. Go and check out that video. Hopefully it'll give you a laugh or two. You can also check out recent reviews I've done for Jason Goes to Hell, Dangerous Animals, and another Tales from the Crypt double feature. Don't miss any of that, y'all, but that is it tonight. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.